entertainment? Are you not entertained?
Put on your dancing shoes.
Now give me your best shot.
From Mamma Mia, Emma Gillespie's here.
Hello.
Hello, E.G.
It's a big day, folks. The last episode of Succession
Last
airs
episode ever.
today. Last episode ever. It's a stressful time.
And the whole point of the show seems to be it's snakes and ladders. It's who's up and who's down. If you don't watch it, it is the story of a media family. It's a conglomeration of a variety of big families. I'm sure the Murdochs, the Maxwell family, all this kind of big hitters. And it's been such an insight into seeing how they operate, how they work, how they shape the political scene. It's been fascinating, but the ups and the downs, who's going to end up and who's going to end down?
It all comes to a head tonight. Everyone's favourite character, Cousin Greg, though. In the meantime,
Do you
he's
like
really...
Greg bugs the hell out of me.
Greg. Well,
he's so cute,
he's
though.
played by an actor called Nicholas Braun, who may not surprise you, is exactly the same as Greg in interviews and in real life. I haven't met him, but this is just what I've gleaned from interviews. And he's
he was in
really
Australia
been...
just recently.
He was in Australia
the project
recently.
wrapped him up. The project wrapped him up. He went to say a story.
That was very
But typical
awkward.
of the project, because you get on that show and they give you 20 seconds. And then you make a nice little soundbite and bite and wrap
Especially
it
if your cousin Greg, who blubbers and fumbles. He's really been the face of the promo for this season in particular, and I think maybe that's because all the other actors are just tired of it. But he did this interview that's making headlines on a podcast called Armchair Expert, which is hosted by Dax Shepard, that actor you might recognise, and he's been having lots of sex. He said he's been having lots of sex, but he's very nervous to talk about it. And he kind of had this immensely awkward conversation on this podcast about sort of feeling like he can't talk about the lifestyle that he has now that has changed since he became uber famous, because he doesn't want to come off like a predator. And there was this sort of broad discussion about, you know, being a young and successful man and having all this power, but also, you know, having to be very discreet about that, I suppose. So the internet's kind of going like, oh, boo-hoo, poor Nicholas Braun is having lots of sex and he can't talk about it.
Respectful of everybody.
So there's that, but then there are, of course, the fan theories, which I want to get into with you guys. I'd love to get your take. One of the biggest surprise fan theories, but is pretty prolific, is that Tom comes out on top after tonight. Tom, the husband of Shiv, who is, for context, the daughter of this media mogul, Logan Roy, who's like your Rupert Murdoch. So the son-in-law
Who's always
take
been
the crown.
who's always been scampering for scraps.
Yes, very much the bin chicken of the show, you could say. But there's sort of this idea that because the siblings have all been so completely awful to each other, even though we started the season with so much hope, they were all happy families, it felt like they were friends again, that everyone's behaved so badly that none of them deserve to become the successor of the company, and then it goes to Tom.
There's nothing deserving about this, is that we see people win who don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
And there's a hollowness at the heart of all of them because they're so rich and influential, but all they want is to be loved, and that's what they've never had in their lives.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that those who aren't deserving don't win, which is probably the point of the entire show.
Yeah, well, but none of them are deserving.
So you have to take deserving off the table.
I think Connor's going to rise, the dad. I mean, Kendall rather. Kendall is going to be the one that takes over the whole thing. He's sort of turned to the dark side.
So there is a lot of conversation about Kendall getting a bit of a Godfather 2 ending, on top but losing everything. And that's sort of the obvious line that's being foreshadowed, I guess, that he's pushing his family away. He's turning into a bit of a Logan. He said often in the last few episodes that everything I do for my family, which is something Logan always said over seasons 1 to 4.
Without actually doing anything,
which was always
family.
Very strange because he was an awful father. Yeah. So there's that. I don't know about Shiv now. I think that she looked really strong, but just the manipulation has been so disappointing. I thought that she'd come good as well, but I don't know if we're going to get her. I think Roman is probably off the table. I'm not even sure if we'll see him in the final episode tonight.
I'm kind of happy with that. I'm glad that Roman got his comeuppance at the funeral.
I felt of all of the kids, he's the one who's lacked having parents the most. He reminds me of a Prince Harry in a way. He just wants a big hug and to be told that he's loved, but he's blanketed all of that with this veneer of being an a-hole.
That's the difference between men and women. you know, look, if a guy's an a-hole, women will go, oh, there's a reason for it. In the world of the guy, if a guy's an a-hole, he's just an a-hole, and whatever he gets, that's
a lot of
his
people
colour.
don't
feel
enjoy
for
this
Roman.
show because they say there's no one to like. But that's the point of the show.
Exactly. And I do like, there are some theories that dear Greg could have his moment in the sun.
Chuck Bradbury.
Greg successfully plays both sides and completes his arc by firing Tom. Someone else on Reddit said, despite Shiv's double agenting, Kendall's quest for absolute power against his better judgment and the safety of his children, and Roman, well, he's pretty much squandered things. I don't see why we don't just give it all to cousin Greg.
Give it to cousin Greg.
Give it to Greg the egg.
Well, we will be watching.
We'll be watching you tonight. Emma, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.